Hi, everybody. This is Todd Creager, and today I want to talk about creating novelty, introducing novelty, newness in your relationship, into your intimate relationship, especially if you've been in the relationship for a while, a long-term relationship. And in honor of that, I decided to wear a very colorful shirt. Talk about novelty. I don't think I've ever wore such a multicolored, busy shirt, but for this I did. Many flowers of different colors, and I just thought it's novel. On the theme of novelty, typically people don't wear the same thing every day, right? We try something new, a new pair of pants, a new shirt, um, sometimes new haircut. Of course, in my case, it's kind of ragged, and I'm not getting anything new by there. But um, I know my wife will oftentimes say things like, "Well, let's see. The last time I met these people, I wore what dress did I wear? Because I want to wear a different dress, right?" It's kind of programmed into our system sometimes to have novelty. Also, when you go to work, you don't. Your supervisor or your boss doesn't say, just do what you always do. They're looking oftentimes for something new, something different, um, new ideas. I've never quite done this video before. I have talked about novelty in relationships. I did an article about it many years ago, but it's going to be different because it's new, it's different, and I'm different. So, likewise, in your relationships, you have to add novelty to it. It's not unlike anything else in life. It's not, right? It's important to bring out different aspects of yourself, different aspects of your partner. Just talking to a friend, I just did a hike today with my wife and another friend, and it was a pretty good hike, 7.5 miles, 1,400 feet up. It was new, novel. I'd never done this hike before. I found it and thought, let's do something that's a little challenging, and it was a kind of a hike that combined three different hikes in one, three different loops, and it was novel. It was interesting. It made it interesting. It did make it interesting, and I there were trails there that I've done them before, but I didn't do them quite in this way. It was novel, and it made it more interesting. It made it more fun. Um, the person we were doing the hike with, he was talking about how, one of the things that he says, I'm not trying to brag, but his exact words, but one of the things I like about me, and this is a person who's a little older than me, turn 70 any day now. He said that what I like about me is that I do different things. I golf, I play tennis, I hike, I mountain bike, I road bike. Um, I'm leaving something out there, but he does a variety of things. And so he says, I think it keeps me not only interested, but it works at different muscle groups. So we know that doing different kinds of exercises is good for the muscles. And even when lifting weights, I remember my trainer back years ago when I had a trainer would talk about how we'd have to vary things and how even different angles would be very helpful. It creates what we call muscle confusion, but it basically helps build muscle. So, a little bit, again, I don't want to belabor the point, but I'm asking you if you want to have a very alive, stimulating relationship, that you need to create novelty. You have to think about it. What what new question can I ask my partner that I didn't ask before? What can I share about me that I've never asked before? What can we do sexually that we haven't done before? Can we take some chances? Like novelty involves chances, and it does take some risk. But I think that what I've seen with the thousands of couples I've worked with, when people practice letting novelty and risk be a part of their relationship, not crazy risk, but smart risk, that the relationships are far more interesting and far better. The problem I see with couples is that's the area that novelty disappears. what got them interested in each other was novelty. It was exciting to be with someone new. But then they do the same thing. Now they'll work, or they'll watch, parent, plan out some things for the kids if they have kids, eat some dinner, clean the dishes, put on the TV, or get on their computers or social media, and then they're kind of tired, and then they go to bed, and they do the same thing the next day. And so it's very important that and I've said this in many videos, is that we need to create time, block, uh, bracket time, like 10 minutes minimum, almost every day to slow down together. In those minutes of slowing down, it's like, let's get creative. What can we do? What can we talk about? Let's think about something that we haven't talked about before. And it could be as simple as going out, of course, to a new restaurant. But I'm also thinking about how you are with each other to make that novel, to be curious and interested, and to ask those questions, that I just said a few minutes ago. It might even help to sit down, take out a little notebook and some writing possible questions out. Give it some time. There are games out there that can help in terms of helping you ask questions. You could go on the internet and say, how can I ask interesting questions of my partner? You could also say, what are some things that some new things I could do with my partner? Believe me, you'll get plenty. The key is to make it important to create novelty into a relationship. Novelty creates new neurons. The neurons in our brain can connect differently, and when we do that, it adds aliveness. So many good things happen from novelty, from newness. I mean, I could go on and on about it. We know that to prevent Alzheimer's and other kinds of dementia, that having newness in one's life is very important. And learning new things, right? Whether it's crossword puzzles that my mother-in-law was doing at 90, even though she had Alzheimer's, she never got it that bad. She passed away from something else. And she was able to fend off the worst parts of Alzheimer's because there was a lot of newness in terms of just intellectual newness. Well, relationships, just like our brain, can deteriorate. Newness is the antidote to deterioration. Creating novelty, just like it helps our bodies and helps our brains, it helps our relationship, newness. So we have to be willing to know that we tend to get to be creatures of habit, especially when it comes to relationships. And most of us have had parents, ancestors that kind of became creatures of habit. There wasn't novelty. I mean, maybe they go on vacation, and I can't tell you how many couples I've seen where they see me and go, yeah, the only time we seem to have a really good sex life is when we're on vacation. You know why that is? Because it's novel. Because they're in a new place. They have bracketed time together. So you could take mini vacations if you want to. I'll define vacation now, interpersonal ones, as one where you give yourself a bracket of time. You set aside time to create novelty. Vacations, we have novelty. It increases our passion, our aliveness. Okay. We could do that every single day when we're not on vacation. I'm more inspired by couples who create these mini vacations every day when they're in their house or in their neighborhood, as opposed to having to go to somewhere exotic. I'm not against that. Go for it. Enjoy. But my point here is that you want to make it a priority, and you want to look at what stops you, what stops me from creating novelty. Am I afraid to do something wrong? Am I afraid to fail? Am I afraid of being judged? Am I lazy? I'm just trying to inspire you to make it important to introduce novelty into your relationship. And like I say, novelty could be very simple, very, very simple. Doesn't have to be anything elaborate. If the way you give to your partner is to buy flowers, then write a love note. Don't buy flowers this time. Buy a love, to write a love note. If you're the kind of person that never buys flowers, buy flowers. Sexually, it's important to oftentimes expand, especially as people get older, they need a little more stimulation and take some chances. Talk about it with your partner. Talk about your partner. If you want to introduce novelty into your sex life, you need to have conversations. You need to have dialogues. This I've learned that this is important. Maybe share this video with your partner, and we let's talk about what might stimulate you that we haven't talked about. Let's take some chances in that area. Role plays, different positions, different ways of kissing, different order of things. There could be a whole lot of information. What turns you on? What are sexual accelerators for you that get you going? It might be very different one partner versus the other. Let's find out what they are and introduce that. Make it important. You make it important that it's my job to help you feel more alive, and one way to do that is to create novelty, to not be so predictable. Being predictable at times is good, but not all the time. We want to be a little unpredictable. We want to be a little surprising. We want to delight our partner with something different, something new. So take what I'm saying. If you have more questions about that, feel free to contact me. I'd be happy to talk more. I love talking about novelty. You can see I'm trying to relate it to just novelty is important for our brain, for our hearts, for our bodies, but also for our relationships. And uh, I'm I'm intrigued by the kind of couples that have been married for decades, as my wife and I have, and who still are stimulated by each other, whose eyes light up when they see each other, who get a big kick out of each other, who can continue growing, not be stagnant. Novelty. It's a good thing. This is Todd Creager. Thanks for listening. And as I always say, making the world safe for love.